Baby. Look at Clark the Shark at 1-800-449-8255 from the golden EIB Sharkerphone, baby, right here tonight, where I'm going to talk about one of my favorite albums ever recorded, this awesome, amazing three-piece, you can call them progressive, or, you know, I don't know what you want to call them, baby, but they're just weird. Their first, you know, mini albums are very strange. They're beyond progressive, you guys. Sometimes they start jamming in a way where it's almost like unlistenably awesome or something. It's incredible. Of course, ELP, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, the debut album. This band contains one of the greatest drummers in the history of all rock music and all music, period. Jazz, blues, rock, whatever, country, disco, progressive. This drummer's unbelievable. And Carl Palmer, of course, is incredible. His drum solos are unmatched. And if you ever saw Cal jam, that drum solo that he does there, it's absolutely unbelievable, you guys. Right here on the Clark the Shark Show. Emerson, Lake and Palmer, the debut album, 1970. Now this band also has, you know, other incredible people in the band. It's only a three-piece band, you guys. And, you know, Greg Lake, unbelievable talent he has, you guys. And gosh, sadly, the keyboardist Keith Emerson recently, not that long ago, shot himself in Santa Monica, California. Very bizarre the way Keith Emerson left this world. He was saying something before he died about how now I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think, you know, insiders and people that knew Keith Emerson were saying that he didn't feel adequate anymore because, you know, he's such a great, incredible, dexterous keyboardist, you know, playing two keyboards at once and all that. And I guess he got some either arthritis or some kind of really bad hand cramps. And believe you me, I, Clark the Shark, have had that in both hands and like both forearms, elbows, shoulders, legs. I mean, could be a part of rheumatoid arthritis. I'm not sure. 1-800-449-8255 right here on the fabulous golden EIB Sharkerphone. It's a Sharkerphone. It's not a microphone, and it's shark casting. Don't ever call it broadcasting, baby, right here on the Clark the Shark Show, where I'm talking about this debut album, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, 1970. Now, I think Emerson used to be with the band The Nice, which was a band I really loved, me, Clark the Shark. And of course, Greg Lake comes from King Crimson. So there's a couple of bands coming together, you know, to really form something incredible here. And, you know, of course, my review of brain salad surgery got some kind of strike from YouTube, and I think it was the management of ELP. They don't allow any reviews or something, or I'm not sure, but it got some kind of shadow ban where I don't think you can see the video or find the video. It's really hard to find my review of that Emerson, Lake and Palmer, the classic Brain Salad Surgery. And I don't think ELP's management cares whether you like the album, hate the album. They just don't want any talk about ELP, even if you don't play the songs, weirdly enough. I mean, I thought you have to play the song, and right here on the Clark the Shark Show, I make sure to never, ever, ever do that with any review video, you guys. But I have to talk about this album, 1970, November 1970. What a year for music. Incredible, you guys. And of course, the track, All Music. Wow, look at the review from All Music for it, you guys. And Sound and Vision, A.A. Christgau's Record Guide gave it a C. What? Rolling Stone gave it a favorable. It's hard to get anything favorable from Rolling Stone, you guys, right here on the Clark the Shark Show. But of course, The Barbarian, the instrumental, traditional arrangement, Bella Bartok with ELP all writing. That song. You've all heard it, you guys. It's incredible. And Take a Pebble, the 12-minute 32 thing. Greg Lake, of course, you guys. Take a Pebble. You just got to hear it. It's brilliant. Any song that's 1232 by a progressive rock band, whether it's Genesis or Eloy or, whoever, Jethro Tull or one of them, I'm going to love it, you guys. Like Supper's Ready by Genesis or, any of that. I love Long Shit, The Fountain of Salmacis, Knife Edge, track 3, side 1. Only 504, probably one of my favorite songs by ELP. I love that song, you guys. Melodic. I love the weird, traditional arrangement stuff. They're paying homage. These melodies are original. They're not really rip-offs, but it seems like some of them are, but they're not, you guys. I know that, the progressive credentials have to be, very durable on these early prog albums from the 1970s, especially, when we're talking about guys like Keith Emerson and Tony Banks and, Mike Rutherford and, Yes, with Steve Howe and Chris Squire and all that. But in some weird way, ELP, there's something about their weird music, and some of the stuff sounds too good to be true, like the melodies, but then you realize it's not stolen. It's just really killer sounding. And I can say that about Genesis with Tony Banks also. I'll hear these little things and I'll be like, man, I'll swear I've heard that before in some song like Beethoven or Mozart or something, but you haven't. It's all original. And of course, side 2, the 3 Fates, it breaks down into these 3 little inner pieces. Keith Emerson. And when I think of brilliant music like the 3 Fates, it's just such a bummer that Keith Emerson would kill himself, you guys. Instrumental, yes, but instrumentation. I would say all 3 of these guys play the most difficult stuff in rock that, particularly Keith Emerson and Carl Palmer, but all of them, you guys. I really like the 3 Fates instrumental, Keith Emerson. Awesome. And of course, Tank, Emerson and Palmer. You guys know that is fucking killer, you guys. Awesome. And probably the worst song on the album, and I'm sick of it, but it's such a hit. Lucky Man almost to me sounds like John Lennon or something. Greg Lake. It's the one that got on the radio. Sadly, it's a bummer because this whole album is so incredible. And that song is just like such a letdown or something. Lucky Man. It's so basic, and yet I love it. And so do all of you right here on the Clark the Shark Show. I love everything that Greg Lake does. And, he doesn't last that long in King Crimson, but the Court of the Crimson King, of course, you guys, awesome. And he also later plays very briefly with Asia, Greg Lake. I think just a Japanese tour or something like that. And he fits right in, he's awesome. Incredible, you guys. I really like that band up to a point. The first Asia album, with John Wetton and all, it's great, and the noodlings of Steve Howe. But you can't top the real bona fide, durable, awesome, progressive rock that is ELP. I would say out of all the progressive rock bands, these guys are the real deal because they're incredible instrument players, like Yes, like Genesis, like Chris Squire, just like, Mike Rutherford, Tony Banks, and Steve Hackett, and all that. But there's something these guys have where, like, if you did an instrument playing clinic, like who can play what, ELP would win. Maybe not Greg Lake, but those other two guys, Keith Emerson and Carl Palmer, would just blow away everybody. I'm talking Carl Palmer would just make mincemeat of Phil Collins or anybody. That's not to say Phil Collins is bad or anything like that or overrated. I'm saying it's just that Carl Palmer is the greatest drummer, in my humble opinion. Clark the Shark, right here on the fabulous Clark the Shark Show. He's even better than Bobby Caldwell from Captain Beyond, who I sometimes refer to as the greatest drummer in rock music. Man, it's close because both of those guys can play weird time signatures. So can Phil Collins and others. The guy in Yes, both guys in Yes. I mean, they're incredible, of course. But, Bill Bruford, unbelievable. He can play anything. But if it came down to Bobby Caldwell versus Bill Bruford versus Carl Palmer, these 1970s progressive rock wizards of genius, I would have to say Carl Palmer is the greatest, you guys, because he hits hard, he can solo, he can play difficult time signatures, and he can do a lot with 4/4 and just do all this crazy shit, all these difficult technical snare things, kind of like Ian Pace from Deep Purple, but then he does all the technical stuff that Ian Pace, really doesn't do. I can also throw in Barrymore Barlow, that guy that played with Jethro Tull. He is incredible, you guys. But Carl Palmer, man, this guy's unbelievable. Maybe Ainsley Dunbar, who plays with Frank Zappa and David Bowie, he's right there too, you guys. When we're talking about the greatest drummers, I mean, to compare to the guys like Gene Krupa, and Buddy Rich and all that, those guys that came before, who can mix jazz and rock and all that stuff. I would say Carl Palmer, he is the greatest drummer in rock, you guys, and just the greatest drummer in everything, jazz. He can do whatever Bill Bruford can do, and he can do what Bobby Caldwell can do. He can, you guys. But when I'm talking about Emerson, Lake and Palmer and this debut weird progressive rock album that is filled with melodies and atmosphere and technical, just weird shit, somehow very melodic and listenable. This album is more listenable than Brain Salad Surgery later on. That just gets too weird for me, Clark the Shark. Even though I love that album, you guys, I love Brain Salad Surgery by ELP, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. It's one of my favorite albums, but somehow I like this album from 1970 even more. It's just incredible, you guys. And I don't think in their whole career that ELP did another progressive rock album better than this one, you guys. I don't think they did. I mean, every song here is awesome, and they prove that they can kick ass with instrument playing, and instrumentals, and then they just trip you out and, mess with your mind, and they write a hit song that goes right on the radio and right on the Billboard charts, right to the very top of the Billboard 100, you guys. That's ELP. Who can figure these guys out? But of course, Greg Lake, super talented bassist, guitarist, everything, vocalist. What an album this is. I want you to buy it if you're just 20 years old and you were born in 2003 after 9/11. I want you to buy some ELP at Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, and I want you to learn about Keith Emerson. What a keyboardist. But learn about all three of these incredible guys, these incredible instrumentalists. ELP, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. One of my favorite bands ever, you guys. Right here on the fabulous, amazing Clark the Shark Show. Who do I like more? Yes, Genesis, or ELP? It's hard to say because there are other bands like Eloy that are incredible, you guys. And all this other shit that isn't quite prog rock per se, like Jethro Tull, and yet it is, like Jethro Tull, Benefit, and Thick as a Brick. They are progressive rock albums, and yet, much like Greg Lake, Ian Anderson and those guys, and his flute and all that, he can write hit songs that go right on the radio, and yet they are loaded with busy brain activity. Brizzy, you guys, there's a word kind of invented and coined right here on the Clark the Shark Show. That means you have a busy brain. Me, Clark the Shark, I'm just a hack, you guys. I get all over the internet with my music, usually just based on melody. I'm not the world's greatest drummer like everyone in the South Bay thinks, or, people around Los Angeles to Redondo Beach now. They're like, oh, Clark the Shark. Who knows? Maybe I am pretty good. I'm 58 years old now. I don't play drums that much anymore. But if I was to sit down and really practice, who knows? I could get pretty fucking good, you guys, but I don't think I will ever be even 1/1000th as good as Carl Palmer or Bill Bruford, you guys. No way. I could probably get maybe sort of as good, like fake it, like I'm as good as Buddy Rich or Gene Krupa, not really as good as them, but I could, sit there and jam for an hour and have you believing that I am. With me, it's just all in the illusion, it's like a grand illusion. But it's no grand illusion with Carl Palmer on drums. Incredible. And it's no grand illusion on keyboards with Keith Emerson or Greg Lake. This band is incredible. Don't let the album Love Beach detour you. That was their final, you guys. They did come back later. And if you really dig into that album and listen to it, it's not that bad. It sounds a lot like all their other albums. It's just the cover, which was meant to be funny. Like ELP was trying to look like a disco band, like making fun of the Bee Gees. And I don't think everyone got it, like that British humor. But I did, right here on the Clark the Shark Show, 1-800-449-8255 from the fabulous golden EIB Sharkerphone. It's not a microphone, you guys, for the Wolfman Jack on crack, Clark the Shark, where I give you my 100% guarantee that if you're not satisfied fully with the Clark the Shark Show, I will give you 92% of your shark back. I don't give 100% of your shark back anymore, you guys. Right here on the Sharky Show, but maybe next year I might. And I'm out of here, people. Peace. God rest Keith Emerson. I hope God has mercy and spares this guy. And I hope it wasn't foul play, like we'll find out later that somebody really murdered or like killed him in Santa Monica. Because me, Clark the Shark, I can't see Keith Emerson killing himself. The guy was a musical genius. And all of us, in the progressive rock community, we revere Keith Emerson. And we absolutely respect, revere, and regard ELP, Carl Palmer on drums for sure, percussionist genius, but certainly Keith Emerson has to just be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame all by himself. And you talk about a band that belongs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Fuck, come on, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Grow up, you guys, and get a fucking brain and put ELP in the hall. I don't even fucking care about the hall. I think it sucks and it needs to be torn down and it's stupid. It's got all this crap like Green Day and, and Foo Fighters in it. Fuck that. Fuck Guns N' Roses. Put in ELP and Keith Emerson posthumously. He deserves to be in. What a talent, you guys. And God have mercy on his soul. If you guys are feeling suicidal, don't ever kill yourself. Come here to the Clark the Shark Show when you're down and you feel sad. I will always be there for you to cheer you up. Don't end up like Keith Emerson, you guys. Don't do it. Come to the Sharky Show. I'll make you laugh. I'll make you dream. I'll make you happy. You won't want to kill yourself. You'll want to buy records at Spotify, Amazon, and iTunes, like the debut album 1970 from ELP, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I'm Clark the Shark, and you just got the only review of this atmospheric, melodic, difficult, technical, progressive rock album that is so much more than progressive rock, you guys. This is an incredible, listenable, musical listening experience, and I want you to listen to the whole thing. I like this more than Yes. I like this more than Genesis, Nursery Crime, or Foxtrot, or Selling England by the Pound. There's something about ELP and their majesty that other bands don't got. Right here on the Sharky Show. And I'm out of here, people. God rest his soul. Rest in peace. Keith Emerson. Man, what a tragedy. Very sad.